Hi, my name's David. I'm here to show you how to set up a startup company in Deskera. First, let's click on Books. Inside here it says choose how you want to start your journey. Do you want to explore with a demo company or set up your company? For this demo, we're going to set up your company. Inside here we can change the name. We can select which country you're from. So for example, you just type in the name. So I'm just selecting United States. If you select in other countries, then you can do that as well. Please take note. Which country you select will change your tax compliance. So I select the United States. You can see here, do you collect taxes? If you select another country, the information will also change. And if you don't see anything here, don't panic. It could also mean that the information's under your organization profile. I can also update which currency you use, your financial year start date, and your book beginning date. So for example, let's maybe go June 1st. But what is book beginning date? Book beginning date is the date we're actually going to do transactions in the system. Everything before this is going to be your opening. So your opening chart of accounts, your opening inventory, your opening transactions like bills and invoices. So you're going to put all that information in, make sure your good old profit and loss, your good old balance sheet balances, and then after that, all your actual physical transactions in the system will start from that date going forward. Let's click Next. Inside here, what does your business deal with? This is just to get started. You can always change it later on in the settings. So, do you provide services? Do you provide digital products like ebooks, software, audio and music, documents? Do you provide inventory? Do you have products that you buy and sell and that you track quantities of? And do you use pick, pack, ship? Do you pick the goods, pack it, and ship it off? Do I have more than one warehouse? So you can activate all this here, and once everything's good, you can click All Set. Hold on tight. We're setting up your first organization. All right, your organization's been set up. So you can create your first invoice here, create your first expense, import your data, which is your chart of accounts, product, contacts, opening balance, and you can go and connect your bank. But first we're going to click on Settings, and then we're going to click on Organization Profile, and we're going to click on the pencil icon. Inside here we can see our company name, our tax registry, and our date format. So if I want to change the date format, this is where I can do it. Next we can go to Finance. Inside I can see my financial start date, book beginning date, reporting currency. I can see the number of decimal places, 2, 3, or 4. Please take note, I can increase the number of decimal places, but after I increase, I cannot decrease it. We can also select the number format here, and we can enable multi-currency. For example, maybe pound sterling, Canadian dollar, and if I want to search for a currency, maybe a euro, for example. Then I can save it. Next, let's go to Compliance. Inside here is your tax compliance. This determines based upon which country is selected. So what is your tax registry? So my tax registry is the United States, therefore it's going to show United States tax compliance here. So if you select a different country, it'll show that country's tax compliance here. So for example, do I collect tax? I can put in the tax ID. And next I can go to address. So this is where I can type in the address. And then I can see that it's auto picked it up, and I just click on it and the information fills in. I can also add another address. And I can click on it and it'll autofill. Then I can determine, is this current billing address, current shipping address, and I can set which one I want. Next I can click Update, click Yes, and my information is updated accordingly. Next we can click on Settings, and let's click on Currency. So inside here I can see the currency code, symbol, exchange rate date, the visibility, and action here. So I can choose what I want to see. For example, if I want to activate Mexican peso, I can click the eye icon. If I want to activate multiple currencies, I can select them. So for example, the dollar and the pound, and I can click Activate up here. Now if I want to deactivate the currency, I can just go and I can look and I can just click on the eye icon again. And if I want to deactivate multiple, I just can select them here and click deactivate. I also can click on change rate here. So this is where I can update the rate and see my existing rate. So I can see the exchange rate, effective date, and timestamp. And if I want to update it, I can update it here. And I can save it. Now for my currencies that are not visible, I can click on view rate to see their rates here as well. Now let me click on settings again. And let's go to payment terms. Inside here, I can see all my different payment terms, and I can add a payment term. So for example, net 90, I can put in the term date, and I can set this as default, and I can save it. I can also go to click action, click the three dots, edit, delete, or set as default here. Please take note, if it's our standard, our default, then you can only set as default here. So these are our defaults. You cannot edit or delete them. You can only change the default, but you can edit and delete the ones you create. Let's go back to settings and go to unit of measurement. So this is where I can add in any additional units of measurement. So for example, MT or metric tons. And I can save it. Next, let's go to settings, and I can go to custom fields and click create. Inside here, you can create your different types of custom fields. You can create a text box, a multi-selection drop-down menu, numbers. It's all based upon what type of requirements you have. For example, maybe contact person. I can put in the length. I can put it under contacts, maybe quotations, purchase orders, invoice, and bills, and click create. I can create a drop-down list. Maybe your product requires the color of the product. Maybe you have different colors and you want to filter them out by that. So for example, blue, black, and red. Again, it's all depending on what type of product you have. Click next, and maybe I'll put this under products. I'll click create. And then you can create a number field. So for example, size of company. Again, it's based upon what you may or may not need. If you're selling certain products that need to know roughly the size of each company and you want to keep reference of that, you can do that. You can consider maybe also shoe size, clothing size if you're designing and making clothes or selling clothes for a person. And then you can put that under contacts as well. And maybe I want to put that under invoice so I have reference and quotation and purchase order. And I can click create. Next, let's click on settings. And then next, this is the audit log, so I can see any changes in the system. Import log. So if I import anything, I'll be able to see if it's successful or not. There'll be usually a green file that shows that it's been imported properly, a red file that has not been imported properly. Right now, it's just blank because nothing's been imported. Our bulk import, so this is where you can import using QuickBooks or Xero. And our email. So this is how you connect your email to Deskera Books. So that way when you send your invoice, it's sent from you. So you can put in your sender names, sender email, username, password, server host name, and port number. Once you set it up, it'll ask you to send a test mail. Once you send the test, you can verify it, and then you're all connected. And we have sequence number. So inside here, do I want to have different sequence numbers based upon my different types, meaning quote, invoice, order, and bill? Do I want to have different sequences? And I can add in new types here for each one and select it. Next, let's go to the dashboard. And depending on what type of startup you are, I mean, do you have any existing transactions? Have you already, created customers in a previous system or have products in a previous system? If you don't, you can go straight to create your first invoice, create your first expense. Inside the transactions themselves, you can actually create your own contact and your own product. But if you do have existing products and existing customers, then you can go and import them. So we're going to click import your data, click contacts, click import data, and we're going to download the sample file and we're going to open it. Now we're at the contact template. Inside here is where we're going to input all the contacts. So what is a contact? A contact can be a customer or a vendor. This is determined based upon the different types of transactions the contact is related to. For example, if a contact is used in a sell transaction, an example, an invoice, it's a customer. If a contact is used in a buy transaction, it's a vendor. If a contact is used in a buy and sell transaction, it'll be considered both a customer and a vendor. So what are the fields inside here? We have sequence code. That's the unique identifier of the contact. We also have the contact name, currency, email, receivable account, payable account, payment terms, billing address, country, state, city, postal code, shipping address, country, state, city, postal code. And right here we have our tax number, is it tax exemption, and tax exemption reason. So these fields will change. These tax fields will change based upon your tax compliance. I chose United States, so these are the fields that will show up here. But if I choose another country, these fields will change. If everything looks correct, you can then go and save and close, and let's go import this. Now we're just going to drag and drop this file right into here. If you want to, you can click Browse, and then you can select the file and click Open. We're going to click Next. Inside here, we'll see all the fields that are mapped. Since we're using the template, it auto maps, but if you're using your own template, all you have to do is just drag and drop, and then map it accordingly here based upon the different fields. If you find a field that does not map and you don't need it, you can always click Skip Columns that do not map, or you can select here, Do not import this column. After that, let's click Next. Now inside here we have the import properties. So we have the import options. Add new record, update existing record, add new and update existing records. In case of duplicate records, reject the duplicate, import the duplicate rows. In case of invalid values, reject the entire row, reject the invalid value but import the row, add the value in the dropdown. So you can select the options here. After that, I can check and make sure everything looks correct. If something doesn't, I can just go here and I can modify it accordingly. And then if I want to, I can apply it to the entire column. Then I can click Submit. The file has been uploaded. So let's go to Contacts, and I should be able to see my contacts here. Next, let's click on Dashboard, and let's click Import Your Data. Let's click Products, let's click Import, and we're going to import tracked and non-tracked products. We're going to download the sample file, and we're going to open it. Now we're at the product template. Inside here, we have two different types of products that you can import. You can import tracked and non-tracked. Tracked products are like your laptop, your computer, t-shirts, bread, anything that you want to keep track of the stock. And we have non-tracked products, which you can think of it like services, which are like aircon maintenance, electrician. What my sister does, she's a certified public accountant, so she does auditing. So those are the two types of items. Non-tracked can also be items like printing paper, maybe coffee mugs, other items that you buy but you don't want to keep track of. Inside here we have sequence code, that's a unique identifier. We have the product name, product type, the description. We have the barcode. So the barcode, you can put the code in and use the mobile app to actually scan certain barcodes, and the product will populate on the purchase or invoice document. We have purchase account name, purchase price, sales account name, sales price. Is it taxable? So this is based upon your tax compliance. Each country is different, and this field will change based upon which country is selected. I selected the US, so it's asking me is taxable. But if you select other countries, the information will change, or the fields will change here. Unit of measurement, opening quantity and opening valuation. So what is opening valuation? Opening valuation is the total value of the opening quantity. So for example, if I have 3 blue t-shirts and the price is, let's say, $147, it means that these 3 blue t-shirts is equal to $147. So it's the total amount of your opening quantity. Your cost of goods sold account, inventory, stock adjustment. This is your warehouse. You can select primary warehouse, which is our default, or you can select any ones that you've created in the system. Your purchase returns account, sales return account, and of course any custom field. So at the very end of the sheet, you can insert your different custom fields in here. So for example, we created a custom field called color. So I just put product-color in here and I filled it in. So any custom fields you can add. And you can always use your own templates. If you have a template that you want to use, that you already have all your products on, you can just go and match. I'm going to save it now. I'm going to close. Next, we're going to go and drag and drop the file right on into here. So I'm just dragging it into here. Or if you want to, you can click Browse, select the file, and then open it. If you have your own file, all you have to do is drag and drop your own product file into here and click Next. Then you have to map the columns. If the columns are not necessary, you can always say do not import this column by clicking here. If you want to add a custom field for this column, you just click Create Custom Field here and it'll be created. And we can go down and take a look. If everything looks correct, I can click Next. And also, if you have a large amount of fields that you want to skip, you can click here, Skip Columns that do not map. After that, we have the same import properties, the import options in case of invalid values, and in case of duplicate records. Inside here, we can track everything and make sure everything looks correct. If something does not look correct, I can go directly on the screen and change it. So, for example, maybe 10. And maybe I want to make this 60, for example. And again, I have the option to apply for the entire column, and I can submit it. And now your products have been imported. So let's click on the products page, and you can see your products here. I just want to mention quickly that if your products are tracked and you need to have batch manage or serial manage, you just go inside, go to inventory, and you click batch tracking and serial tracking. And then you can save it. Next, let's go to dashboard, and let's click import your data, and let's click products and click import data. Inside here, I just want to mention what a BOM product is, or BOM product. A BOM product is a bill of material. So what is a bill of material? A bill of material is a bunch of components that are assembled together to form a product. They can be multiple different types of products. For example, you can look at a desktop, you need your motherboard, you need your fan, you need your CPU, you need your hard drive, and of course your case, and you combine them all together and you form your desktop. It could also be something like chicken soup. You have your broth, your chicken, your noodles, your carrots, your vegetables, and you assemble them all together, and you probably have an additional assembly fee and other costs, and it's now chicken soup. It can also be packages. For example, maybe I have a special sale with computers, a mouse, and a monitor for a special, 4th of July sale, or a special sale on that, where I have all these products and I combine them together to sell them. So you can have multiple BOMs. For importing BOMs, I recommend you use our template. It is slightly different than tracked and non-tracked products, where you have to list the main item or the bill of material first, and then on the second line and third line and fourth line and going down forward is your components. So first line is the bill of materials, and the following lines are all your components. So just please take a look at that. All right, let's go back to the dashboard. Now inside here, I was talking earlier about what type of startup are you? Are you a new startup where you've not created any transactions before, or you have existing startup and you have several transactions already in the system? So let's go and click on your first invoice. So if this is the first time coming into the system and you want to create an invoice, you don't have to import your contacts or go to the contact screen to create them. I can just go here and click Add Contact and click here New Contact. And then I can put in the contact's name. So maybe Mike First Contact. Then I can put an email address, a tax number. Again, these fields change based upon the country's tax compliance. I can go see accounting. I can select my payment terms, payable account, receivable account, tax exemption. Again, this is based upon your country's tax criteria. Next, I can put in the address. So, for example, ESTR Street, Fresno. And you can see it pops up. I can select it, and I can always add another address, and I can save it. For the state's address is important because that's how taxes are calculated. Based upon other countries, you'll be going to, I guess, the tax tab inside there, and they all should populate accordingly. So all your taxes should be automatically populated, but specifically for the US, it's really dependent on the address. Now you can see our custom fields for our contact, for example, size of company and contact person, Mike Williams. And this is because we selected contacts and we also selected invoice as well as quotation, and I believe also purchase order and bill. So since we selected under invoice, it's showing here under invoice. Now we can add in the line item. Again, we can add products directly here. So we can import it and you can immediately use it, or you can create the product directly on the screen. So for example, tracked, and maybe I want to, let's see, red shirt. I can go to accounting. I can see all the information, update all the information here, and I can save it. And if I want to add in the custom field, I can click here, choose the color as red, and save it. Now I can put in the unit price, so maybe this is 50 bucks. And we're going to get my contact first wants to order 10 pieces. We can click here, and then we can go and save it. Just to show you here first, you can add an attachment, a memo. Custom field settings, this is where you can hide your custom fields if you don't want to show it. Set as recurring. So for example, Mike, he wants to do this invoice every month. Yay! I can set as recurring here, and I can set it as yearly, monthly, weekly, or custom. I can select the first document date, and I can select the ending date, or maybe it never ends. I can also click on auto send, so I can see sender name, send to, reply to, invoice, and I can go here and I can add in our placeholders. For example, if I want to add in the contact name. And I can send a copy to myself, and this is where I can select my template. We also have more, so this is where we have our multi-currency options. So for example, we set up multi-currency. This is where I can select which one I want to use. We have running numbers, so this is where I can select manually input the number, use our standard running number, or I can customize the number format and put my prefix, for example, separator, suffix, separator, and suffix. So prefix, separator, display digit, separator, and suffix. And I can save it. You can see it here. And then if I want to click the three dots, I can edit it. What does edit mean? I can set as default. I can also click here and click the three dots and delete it. And then I can see my setup payments. So this is Veeam, Stripe, PayPal, not applicable. And I can save and close it. And you see I don't have enough stock. So it's asking me if I want to create a back order. So for example, if I save this and I want to create a back order for this, I can do that here. So that way the purchase order will be generated, and then when I receive my goods, an email will be given to me, and then I'll be alerted that I can fill the order. So let's just save and create a back order. So inside here I can select my contact. So again, I can create a new contact, but I'm just going to go here and select Mike Vendor. I can see the red shirt quantity. I can put in the unit price, maybe 10 bucks. Again, we have attachments, memo. I can see the custom fields, recurring, more, again, multi-currency. And I have manage fields here. So that's something that we also have in invoice as well, where I can change the labels of the item, description, quantity, pieces, and discount to whatever I'd like. So for example, if it's services, others, to how I want to change it. And then I can save and close. After that, I can click the three dots, and I can receive the goods. And then I can choose the primary warehouse, receiving date, and the quantity. And I can do partial quantity because you may not receive it all at the same time. So now it's received. Let me just quickly pay this off. Click on bill. It's now generated to a bill. Click pay. So I can select my bank, my payment type, choose a date, reference number, next, and pay it off. And then I can print it out. Some companies like to print out an actual document, attach a check to it, and then send it off to the boss to sign off. Because he's signing the check, he signs off the document, keeps records. It all depends on the process in the company. Next, let's go to sell. Inside my inventory, I've received the goods. But I also want to show you under fulfill, we have direct fulfillment, pick, pack, ship, and drop ship. So since I received my goods and I have my quantity now, I can do pick, pack, ship, or direct fulfillment. Direct fulfillment means it just selects the warehouse and the quantity. So here you see the 10, primary warehouse, fulfillment date, and I can fulfill. Pick, pack, ship means I can pick it, Pick the quantity from which warehouse, pack it, and then ship it off. Drop ship. Drop ship is where my customer places an order with me, I place a order with my vendor, but instead of I getting the goods back, like back order, with back order it goes in my warehouse and I get it. Instead, the vendor sends it directly to my customer, so it never enters my warehouse. So that's the difference. So for this case, we're just going to do a direct fulfillment, and we're going to fulfill. And then we're going to get paid. And inside here, I can change the currency. For example, if I want to change the currency, I can change the amount. So if I want to receive partial, I can. Payment type, bank transfer, reference number, and next, and I can receive it. Close. And then I always get paid, and you can see it automatically adjusts. Next, and receive. And close. Next, we're going to go to accounting. Inside here is your chart of accounts. So this is where you can enter your chart of accounts. This is where you can make journal entries and bank transfers. This is your opening balance. So this is where you can see all your chart of accounts and you input your openings. Under inventory, this is where you can put your opening valuation and opening quantity if you didn't do so with the products. And this is where we have our contacts. So this is where you can import your opening sales invoice and opening bills. And you have the ability to import or create. So I can import it for contacts, import it for inventory, and import it for the accounts. This is where you can create your debit note, your credit note, your expenses. So inside here, you can create your direct expense or prepayment. You also go to deposits, and you can create your direct deposit, advance payment, and bank deposit. And of course, this is where you can set up your financial year closing. So for example, do I want it monthly, quarterly, yearly, or custom? And then I select my retained earnings account. If for whatever reason I want to change before I close any periods, I can click here and make the changes. I also can close the period here by putting in the period name, closing period, which in this case will be your year, and the period, which will be the month. All right, so next let's go to banks. Inside here, we can see our bank account. And if I want to create a new bank account, I can just add bank account here. I can put in the name, such as Wells Fargo. I can see the account code. I can select the currency. I can put in the description. And please take note, based upon the currency, it will reflect based upon your sell and your buy. So when you make payment and receive payment, when you select the currency, the bank account will show up based upon the currency selected here. Let me click Save and Next. Deskera uses Play to link your bank. So let's get started. So based upon which country you're connecting your bank from, this information will show differently. So for example, since I selected U.S. tax registry, it shows Plaid. If I select another country, it may show Yodlee. If I select another country, it may show Salt Edge. So it all depends on where you select. Now, since my bank is Wells Fargo, I'm clicking on Wells Fargo, and you can see I can input the username, password, and submit. But what if I don't see my bank here? Well, I can click up here and type in the bank name. For example, bank, and I can scroll down. For example, U.S. Bank, or maybe Union. Let's see, Union Bank. So it all depends on what you're looking for. You just type in the name, like Navy Federal Credit Union. So you put in your bank, and then you can select it and just fill in the information. But if you don't want to connect your bank, you just click the plus sign or X sign here, and then you click skip. And your bank is created. Now if I click the three dots, you can also import your bank statement here as well. We also have rules. So inside here, we can add bank rules. So I can put in the name, the type, is it a credit or debit? Select the bank that's affected. And these are the filter criteria. So what's so important about this? Why is this needed? Well, when you import your bank statement into Deskera for this bank, some transactions are already created in the sell and buy, but some are not. And if you want those transactions to be automatically created, you can use this rule to do so. So you can choose, was it based upon description, payee, transaction date, or amount? And then you put in the condition there. For example, maybe Austin Circuits. So I put a description, I say is equal to Austin Circuits, or I say very simply contains Austin Circuits. And then I select the contact, the account, tax component, payment method, transaction type. And then after that I say review and create or auto create. What's the difference here? Review and create means it will not create the transaction directly. It'll auto-populate the data, and then you can select it and then determine whether you create it or not. Auto create means it's auto creating the system, it's automatically already matched. All right, so next let's go to reports. Inside here we have our different financial reports. So our profit and loss, balance sheet, cash flow statement, general ledger, our bank reconciliation reports, account statements, statement of accounts, statement of account for vendor. We have our tax report. So this changes based upon your tax compliance. So I selected US, so I have my sales tax report. But if you select different countries, this report will change. We have our purchase reports. So I have my outstanding purchase goods receipt report, my age payables, my debit note, my payment list. Under inventory reports, I have my stock availability by warehouse. So if I have multiple warehouses, I can see where my stock is located. My stock ledger, my stock aging report. How old is my stock in the system? Has it been there for a couple weeks, couple months? Has it been there for over 90 to 120 days? It's even older than that. And that way you can determine why is the stock not moving, what's going on, and then you can decide what to do about it. Your inventory valuation detail report, sales return, purchase return report. Now under sales, you have your age receivable, outstanding sales fulfillment report, invoice list, sales by product, receipt list. And finally, let's just quickly go to apps. Inside here, we have our different payment gateways like Veeam, PayPal, Stripe, and Wise. If I want to receive payment from a customer, I can do that through Veeam, PayPal, and Stripe. Please take note, Veeam requires your base currency to be USD. You can also make payment to your vendor using Veeam and Wise. We have our fixed assets here as well. We can track our shipments using USPS, FedEx. We have our stock transfer, stock adjustment. We connect to multiple different types of applications using Integrately, Pabbly, Zapier, and Integromat. We can also connect to different e-commerce sites using eCom. Like we can connect to Amazon, Shopify, and WooCommerce. So all you do is click open, then you connect to Deskera, then you connect to the Amazon account or the Shopify account or WooCommerce account, and then you can see your orders, customers, and products for all three. All right. And that was a quick look at books. Next, let's close this, click on the switch to, and let's click on sales. Now we're in the sales dashboard. Inside here, of course, you can see your organizations, people's, deals lost, deals won, your contact report, upcoming activities, deal stages, deals won versus deals lost, campaigns, and tickets. Of course, the information here doesn't have anything because we haven't created anything yet. So let's go to settings. Inside here, we have user settings. We have team settings. So this is where you can create your teams. Inside Deskera, you can set the view for your contacts and your deals based upon private, team, and everyone. So for your contacts as well as your deals, if you set it for team, the team can see them. If you set it for private, only the owner or sub-owner can see it. If it's for everyone, everyone can see it. So this is where you set that up. Next, we have our custom fields. Inside here, you can create a text box, single selection drop-down menu, number, country, currency, and date. And you can assign them to your contacts and deals. Next, we have our email. Inside here, you can put in your sender name, email address, username, password, your server, your port for your incoming mails, and your server and port for your outgoing mails, and allow non-secure certificates. Once you set this up, you will be able to send emails from your email address in deals as well as in contacts. So for example, in a deal, if I send an email using the email that's connected here, when your contact replies, it will also show up in the deal. But they have to reply to that mail. We have our integration settings, our Microsoft 365, our Google Tag Manager, our webhooks. We have our guide, so this is where you can input your support domain. So for example, And I can search. And no one is assigned to it yet, so I can click Assign. And now it's assigned. Then you can put in your hero image, your logo, your favicon. Under Settings, you can activate your Help Center. You can disable Powered by Deskera logo. And if I click here, Save and Open, you'll be able to see your Help Center here. Later, I'll show you where you can add in different sections and different articles. So next, let's go to Tickets. Inside here, you can add your support email. So again, sender name, email address, username, password, your incoming mail server and port, your outgoing mail server and port, and you allow non-secure certificates. After that's set up, any email that is sent to that email address will create a support ticket. So then it'll populate. Next, we have our Audit Trail, so I can see what's going on in the system. I can see our preferences. And this deals with campaigns. So for example, if you don't want Powered by Deskera logo, this is where you're able to disable it. Also, if you don't want it in your web forms, this is where you can disable it as well. I can see my import log here as well. So if I see any issues with my import, I can see the original file. I can see if all the ones imported correctly and not imported correctly, and I can see what is correct and not, and make changes accordingly. Now let's go to Contacts. Inside here, I can click on columns and I can change my view here. So for example, if I want labels to go up. If I don't want to see, for example, phone number, I can save it like that. And you can see it changes. I can select here and I can change the labels. So for example, maybe I want it all warm. And maybe my first contact, I want to change to a hot lead. And I can update just by selecting here and changing by clicking labels, changing visibility. I can change multiple sub-owners. I can change the owner directly from the screen. Next, let's go to Marketing. Inside here is where I can select segments, emails, and forms. Under segments, I can go inside there and I can create a segment. And I can put in the segment name, for example, contacts. Put a description. I can select them. I can click on filter. I can filter by owner, sub-owner, visibility, label. I can add a custom field filter. So for example, if there's a large number of contacts that you have here, then I recommend you to have some sort of custom field that's added to it to help identify them. That way, it'll be easier to filter them out and then add them to your segments. After that, you just press save. Next, let's go to email. Inside here, I can see all my email templates, and I can add an email template by clicking up here and putting in the email template name. So for example, test. I can go over here and see text, images, image groups, image text, border text, section 1, half section, 1/3, 3/7, button, divider, link block, link, and list items. So with all these different selections, I can just drag and drop it into here. After that, I can just drag and drop an image. I can go to my folder and select an image. For example, let's see. Yep, this one looks fine. Let me just drag and drop this one in here. And now it's just populating. I can click on it. I can go here to the other one and I can import a text. So I can say, for example, hi. And then I can select my placeholder, first name. Hope you are doing okay. Are you ready for a great deal? For example. And you can create more and more here. Also on here I can see the full screen. I can view the code, so I can export it. I can toggle images on and off. And I can import a template. So if I have my own HTML code that I want to import, I can paste it right into here. Also, contact details, you need to add it. So you can see you cannot remove or hide the unsubscribe link or any other footer elements required by consumer privacy and anti-spam laws. The physical address displayed in the footer is taken from the company details. So I'm just going to add it in here. And then I save it. And then if everything looks good, I can just save. Just one other key thing is that this is where you can view from the desktop, I can view from the tablet, and I can view from the mobile phone. So I can see how it looks and if it looks good or not. Next, we're going to go to Forms. Inside here, we can add two different types of forms, a contact form and a deal form. And more or less what this does is that we can drag and drop fields in here, like email. I can drag and drop phone number. But the key thing is I'm creating this form, and then I'm going to take the code and embed it into my HTML web page. The reason for this is when I fill in all the data, it'll populate into Deskera. So for example, if I fill in the data on the web page for this form, a contact will be created in our system. So after that, I can click Next. So after they fill in the form, what should they see? Thank you for submitting the form, or do you want to redirect to another page, such as maybe your home page? I can also send submission email notifications to somebody, assign owners, assign sub-owners, assign visibility, is it private team or everyone, assign label, and after that I can click Publish. After that I can view the form here. It's just a view form. But the key thing is copying the embedded code and then adding it to your web page. That way, once they fill in the information, it'll flow into contacts, and just like the other form for deals, it'll flow into deals. Next, let's go to Services and Guides. Inside here is where you can add in those sections. So I can click Add, and then I can select Section, and I'll add in a section. I can select Article, and I'll add in an article. If I select Article, I can put in the title, the information, bold, italicize, underline, strike through, change the size, put in a link, add in a picture. Now, visible to, is it visible for single signed in users or everyone? Is it published in which section? And the author, who wrote it. And then once everything's done, I can save, or if I click this arrow sign here, it'll publish it. Let's click on support. Inside here, if any emails come in from our support email, tickets will be populated here. I also can manage your own views. So inside here, I can add a ticket view. I can put in the view, for example, David tickets. Then I can select the field. For example, assignee is David. Maybe I want to also see priority is high. So you can see I can just continue to add priorities. I can do last updated is greater than, then I can put in the value here as well. So you can just update them based upon how you want to use them. Next, let's go to deals. Let's make a deal. So inside here, I can see my different deals and my different sections for each deal. And if I want to go here, I can add a pipeline. And I can see my different stages here, like new stage. I can add in as many stages as I want. Put in help text, probability, and rotting days, how many days before it rots. But we're going to use our default pipeline. So inside here, I can click on the plus sign, and then I can just add in a deal name. If I want to, I can also click on Create Deal button up here, and also let me create a deal. So let's say then I can select the organization. If I do not have the contact person yet, I can just add it here and it'll be automatically created. I can put in the deal value. Closing date and deal date. So I can save it. And you can see the deals are populated here. I can drill in. I can see the pipeline, deal age, owner, any custom fields. If I'm connected to an email, I can send out an email from here. I can also log emails as well. Under activities, I can create activities. So for example, a call. I can put in the start date, end date. And I can put any notes. I can assign it to contact person, organization, I can send reminder email to assignee. I can send a reminder email to contacts. So assignee is the assigned to. Contacts, that's the contact person organization. All right, let me see. Do I want to change the timing? So maybe I want it 14 at, let's see, 12 p.m. Set 14, 1 p.m. Yes. So I can see here, the call's there. I can save it. After that, I can click this box here that marks it complete. I can edit and delete it. Under notes, I can put any notes. I can see any logs. And under deals, I can just now drag and drop. So for example, I can drag it and drop it to any one of these little stages here. And once it's created, once it's won or lost, I can just drag to won or lost here. I can also drill in and click deals won, deals lost. And now the deal's won. Next, let's go to activities. Inside here, I can see my activity calendar and see any activities here. I also can generate a calendar URL and then copy that URL and paste it into my calendar. And my activities here will flow into that calendar, so it'll populate accordingly as well. I can also go here and I can see all my activities. And I can filter based upon call, meeting, task, deadline, email, lunch, all to do and done. So I can filter them out here as well. And that was a quick look at Deskera Sales. Next, let's click on Switch To, and let's click on People. Inside here, we're going to input the country. For example, United States of America. We're going to input the address. And you can see when I type it in, it auto-populates, and I can just click it and the information fills in. I can put in the schedule pay, so I'm just going to put it as monthly, but you can put it as, for example, monthly, weekly, twice per month, and bi-weekly. So you have a choice of which one you want to select. You can choose the work week, last working day of the month as the pay date, and you can select the first pay date here. Please take note, you can have multiple schedule pays. So for example, you may have one where it's just Monday through Friday. Maybe that's the office staff, but maybe you have shop floor or other workers that maybe work Monday through Saturday. It all depends. So you can set it up and you can have more than one pay schedule. Now let's click next. This is where you can input your first employee. So for example, Williams. Put in the email address. Any contact number? Any contact number, basic salary. And is this per month, per year, or per hour? I do recommend you not to create all your employees here. I recommend you to go to our employee screen and actually do the import function if you have a large amount of them, or create them at that screen itself. So let's click finish. Sit back and relax while we set up your organization. All right, so inside here, we can see that we're at the dashboard. We can go to settings, we can go to company settings, and this is where I can see my company details, my work week, my operating checklist. And if you have certain statutory compliance, based upon which countries you selected, more information may show here. Next, we have our performance. We can set up our appraisal due date and the appraisal period frequency for the appraisal cycle, and you can input the questions here. Under tax details, again, this is based upon your tax compliance on which country you selected. You'll have to input the information here. Our payslip designer. So this is where you can design your payslip. So you can copy our default payslip and you just drag and drop what you want into here. So for example, text. And inside here we have different select values or placeholders that you can choose. We also have our import log. This is where you'll be able to see your imported data and the record and if there's any errors. Next, let's go to employees, employee list. Now this is where you can import your employees. You can either drag and drop your file into here or download a sample file, fill in the information, and then map and then confirm. I'm just going to click on this wonderful employee and I'm going to edit it. You can see you can also delete and terminate. Inside here, I'm going to put in the designation. the date of birth. Then I can put in, for example, date of joining. And if there's a confirmation date, I can put in the date of confirmation. That's where I can input the address. And it populates. And this is where I can put in the compensation details. And I can also set effective date for salary. So if I click this, I can put in the effective date. And if I don't want to, I can deactivate it. And now I can select the employee type. Is it full-time, part-time, casual, shift worker, probation, or outwork? I can also select the payment method. Click Next. I can assign any components, variable components, or benefits here. Now this is the country's tax compliance. So inside here, it will change based upon which country is selected. Since I selected the US, it shows Social Security number, EIC code, marital filing status, any dependent claims. Well, you just fill in all the information and then you save it. Then based upon your tax compliance, you may have contractors. So inside here is where you can add contractors as well. Next, let's go to components. Inside here's where I can actually import component values and add components. So for example, you can think of it like bonus. And I can select the bonus. Is it a deduction or an earning? So bonus should be an earning. And is it fixed? Is it a variable? Percentage of basic salary, which percentage? Also percentage specific component or amount for the days worked. And after you do that, you can save it. If it's a deduction, it can be vision insurance, health insurance, dental insurance. We already have some predefined ones that populated here. Next, let's go to pay schedule. So I just want to show you this is where you can add in your multiple pay schedules if you have more than one. Let's go to payroll and let's go to pay run. Inside here, I can add a pay run. I can select payment schedule or pay schedule. I select monthly. I can see the work week is populated. I can select the work period here, for example, maybe 1st to 31st June. And then I can select the employee, for example, David Williams, and I can process. Inside here, I can see the employee, any overtime. So if I click here, I can put in the overtime rates, and I can change the rates here. So for example, maybe for OT, and I can put in the time here, any loss of pay, additional earnings. I can see the deductions and employee tax and net pay. These are the statutory requirements or the country's tax compliance. And this changes again based on which country you selected. Now inside here, I can check and make sure everything looks good, and I can process the payroll. To ensure accuracy, please review your payroll numbers and make sure they are 100% correct. Do you wish to continue to process payroll? Yes. Then I can view the summary, make sure everything looks good, and then if I'm happy with it, I can click Finish. If not, I can cancel the payroll. After I'm finished, the payroll's been processed. I can view the summary here. I can go to the employees, click on Employee List, click on the employee, and this is where I can download his payslip. See all the information, make sure everything looks good. Then I can go back here. Inside here, we can also go to reports. I can see my payroll report, and this is your country's tax compliance report. So you can have your W4, W2, W3, W9, 1099, 1099. Again, this is for the US. These are the government reports that are required. Other countries will have different information here showing. Next, let's go to eLeave. Inside here, I can click on Settings and Leave Management, and I can add a new leave type. This is where I can put in the leave type name, number of days, leave prorate, leave accrual on, and carry forward. So for example, maybe the maximum balance now is 28 because I carried forward 14 days. So I'm allowing them to carry forward all their leave to the next year. So that means they'll could have a maximum leave about 28 days. Put the leave description, select the color, select gender. So for example, this may be maternity or paternity leave, and it all depends on the gender. Also marital status. Does it apply to all users? Do you allow for unpaid leave? And years of service. Do they get different amounts based on different years? For example, 1 through 4, maybe they get 10. 1 through 5, they get 12. And 5 through 50 or 30, they get 14, for example. Then after that, you can just save it. Next, we have our leave adjustment. So this is where you can do your leave adjustments. Click here, select your employee, your leave, and you can do your adjustment. Yearly holiday. So this is where you can create your holiday. Like, for example, 4th of July. I can select the date. Any description. Does it recur every year or is it one time? And I can save it. I also can manage my users here. And this is our teams. So this is important because inside here, I'm able to set up who is the manager and who's the user. So who's going to be able to approve David Williams' leave? According to the default team, it's going to be David McGoldrick, approves David Williams. Next, let's go to company settings. Inside here, I can see my company details. I can see my work week. All right, so next, let's go to expenses. Inside here, I can see the expense dashboard, and I can click on admin settings. Inside here, I can create a new group, or I can click on the default group here, and I can add members. For example, David Williams. Then I can assign who's a member and who's a manager. For example, maybe I want David McGoldrick to be a manager. So now he's a manager, and David Williams is a member. And I can have multiple expense claims groups, and the manager will be the one approving. Next, let's go to category, and this is where I can add multiple categories for my leave. For example, maybe golf, and I can add it to the group. So these are the groups that you're adding it to, and you can save it. After that, I can go back to the expense dashboard, and I can set up a new claim. And that was a quick look at Deskera People.